Dear learner, welcome to my lecture on programming in Java. I am Dr. Ashutosh Kumar Bhatt, Associate Professor, School of Computer Science and IT, Uttarakhand Open University, Haldwani. So, the topic of my lecture, passing argument to method, returning multiple values from method and different type of modifier. So, I will cover in this lecture how to pass and return single and multiple argument from method, types of modifier in Java, access modifier like private, protected, default and public, and non-access modifier. So, starting from the first one, how to pass the argument to the method. So, you can see here this example. In this example, we have this main method. Inside public static void main, we are passing two arguments 4 and 2 to the function sum. So, you can see in the second half of this slide public static integer sum. So, where we have integer x and integer y are two argument. So, 4 will be transferred in x and 2 will be transferred in y, and finally we are finding the sum of x and y, means sum of 4 and 2. So, here 4 plus 2 it will return 8. So, this function will return 6 value will be returned by this function. So, you can see some point here also. Information can be passed to method as parameter. So, these are the parameter 4 and 2 means x and y are the parameter. So, these parameters are used to passing the information. And see the second point, parameters act as a variable inside the method. So, again you can see here x and y are two parameters, means two variable which are used to transfer the value from main method to this function. And point number 3, you can add as many as parameter as you want, just separate them with the comma. So, we can add more parameter also. So, here we are using only two parameter, we are passing x and y. So, we can increase the parameter also. So, suppose we have to pass one more parameter z. So, we will write here integer x comma integer y comma integer z. So, we will separate it by the comma. So, we can pass multiple parameters. So, again the next point, argument are the actual value that are passed when method is invoked. So, again you can see here 4 and 2 are the actual value, and these actual value are passed to the variable x and y argument. And the finally last point, when you invoke a method, the argument used must match with the declaration parameter in type or and order. So, you can see here again 4 and 2 are two integer values. So, we can pass these integer value in the variable which must be the same type. So, x and y must be integer type. That is why we are passing here 4 and 2 as a argument. Suppose 4 and 2 are two float values. Suppose we have mentioned here two float value as a argument. So, same time we must have to define the parameter float x and float y. So, accordingly we can define the argument or parameters. Now, passing the argument. Now, see this example where passing the argument to the method. So, again in this program we have this is the name, this is the class, public class main. So, we have a class that is named as main, and inside this class we have a static function, static integer my method. So, this is a method, and this method is invoked by the public static void main. You can see here in the bottom part of this slide. So, where we have public static void main, and here we have mentioned the statement system.out.println my method 1. So, we are passing here one argument to the my method. So, this 1 will be transferred to the x variable. So, we are passing here only one argument, and one value is transferred to the x variable, and here inside the my method we have two variable a and b. Integer a equals to 10, integer b equals to 20. So both a and b are initialized by the value 10 and 20. So we are finding here x equals to x plus a plus b. So the value of previous x is 1, which is passed through argument. So 1 plus 10 plus 20. So it will return x, it will return 31. So when we will print the value of my method, then it will print the value 31. So this is another program, and in this program we are passing one argument only, and same time we can pass more than one argument also. So this is the another program where we are passing multiple argument. The following example has a method that takes a string called fname as an argument. So in this program we are passing one argument, and again in this program, in the next program we are passing one argument also. So but this in this example we are passing the argument as string type. So again you can see here the name of class is public class main, and the first function public static void main, static void name method, and again we have public static void main. So one method and one main method, public static void main. The second one is the public static void main, and first is the static void name method, and we have one argument string fname. So the program will start by public static void main, and inside public static void main we are running name method and passing argument Pankaj. So this Pankaj will be transferred to the fname variable, fname argument. You can see here the argument fname, static void name method. Inside the name method we have one argument, one parameter, that is string fname. So this Pankaj will be transferred to the fname, and then by system.out.println we will print the value of fname, first name, then we have concatenated the another string, that is panth. So combinedly it will display Pankaj panth, and again we are running the same method, name method, and here we are passing Jyoti as an argument. So Jyoti will transfer to the fname, and system.out.println Jyoti panth will be printed. So the two output you can see here in this slide, Pankaj panth and Jyoti panth. So passing argument to the method, this is another example of passing argument to the method. So here we are passing string argument, while in the previous one we are passing, you can see here in this program we have my method and we are passing value 1, means is integer value to integer x variable. So we are passing one value, means one number to x variable. So these are the two similar example, but the difference is in the previous one we are passing integer, and in the second one we are passing string value as a argument. Now see the multiple argument, how to pass multiple argument to a method. So here you can see in this program we have public class sample, we have sample class, and inside sample class we have first function static void name method, and in this method we are passing two arguments. The first is fname and second is the age. So we are passing here two argument. So we can pass at a time two argument. Now see inside the public static void main, and inside this static void main we are running two times this name method. In first when we are running name method, then we are passing Pankaj and its age 15. So the Pankaj will be transferred to the fname string fname variable, and the 15, that is the age of Pankaj, that will be transferred to the age variable of the function name method. And you can see inside the name method system.out.println, and inside println we are writing here fname plus, and inside double quotes you can see here double colon and then plus age. So this way we will print the value of Pankaj 15, and the second time when we will execute this, then it will display Jyoti and its age 18. So you can see same time the output of the program also. So in this program we are passing multiple argument to method. Now passing multiple value to the method. So here we are passing, again we are passing 3 argument. In the previous one we are passing 2 argument, one is string and another one is the integer type. But in this case we are passing 3 argument, and all 3 argument are integer type. So this is the class, public class sum class, and we have sum static integer sum function, and inside sum function you can see 3 argument a, b and c. So we are finding the sum of a, b and c. Integer we have taken here new variable s equals to a plus b plus c, and finally we are returning the value of sum, return s. And again public static void main string args, and here inside this main we are we have written here, we have mentioned here system.out.println and sum 5 comma 3 comma 2. So these 3 value 5, 3 and 2, and these 3 value will be accordingly, these values will be transferred to the a, b and c. 5 will be transferred to a, 3 will be transferred to b and 2 will be transferred to c. So accordingly it will find the sum of a plus b plus c, means 5 plus 3 plus 2, and it will be 10, and it will return value of s, that will be 10. So this 10 will be printed over here. So output you can see here 10. So you can execute this program also. So I have mentioned here complete program. So you can write this program on your editor of Java. Either you can use BlueJ or you can use another software. So you can execute this program. So this is completely executable program because it has main also. Now see, return multiple values from the method. So these are the example of passing argument. Again I am showing you this one. So here we are passing 2 integer value. In this case we are passing single integer value. In my method you can see here 1 is passed, so single value. So here again also we are passing single value but string type value, and in this example we are passing 2 different values. One is string value and another one is the integer values, means multiple argument we can pass here. And in this example we are passing 3 values, and all 3 value are the integer type value. But these examples are related to the passing argument. But now returning values from the function. So in all these 3 you can see here we are returning x, single value we are returning here. Here also we are returning sum of x plus y, means single value we are returning here. In this example also we are directly printing the value. So this example also, and now you can see here in this example also we are using this, we are running the program and we are not returning anything, directly we are printing here. So we have mentioned here return type is void, and here in this program we have mentioned here return type of sum is integer. So we are returning single value, we are returning here single one value we are returning here. This is provision in all function that we can execute. By default we can return one single value, but same time we can return multiple values. So you can see in this slide function returning more values. So function can return more values, function can return only one value, as well as we can also force function to return more values. So in this case we can return, it means we have the facility to return more values also. And finally the last statement, it is possible by call by reference method. So we can take the help of call by reference method, and by using this call by reference we can force function to return more values, multiple values. So you can see this example, I am implementing this in this example. So here we have this class test class. So you will write here class then test. So only test is written here. So you have to write here class test. and static integer method call calc, and here 2 argument. So this is function integer static integer method calc. So its return type is integer array. So it means we can return more values by this method calc. We can return more values. However, in the previous program, you see in the previous program, here we are returning return as, means we are returning single value. In this example also we are returning x single value we are returning here. So here also sum of x plus y means a single integer value we are returning. So always we are returning in all example single value, but we have to return more values. Then we will use this way. Then we will write the function name static integer then array sign. So these 2 square bracket represent the array. So integer array we are returning here, and method calc is the method. So we are passing a and b, and finally it will return the result, and result is a array. So integer square bracket 2 square bracket result means result is a array, and new integer 2 means the size of array is 2, and this way in the first array result 0. So now we have 2 location, 2 space for this result array. So in 0 space we are storing the sum of a and b. However, in one position of the result variable is a minus b. So we are putting here a minus b means difference of a and b. We are putting in result 1. The first one at the position of 0 position. At the 0 position we are storing a plus b. However, in one position of the result variable is the difference of a and b. And when we will return this result, then it will return the both values. It will return the whole array, and this array means 2 space, and in first space we have sum of 2 number, and in second space we have difference of 2 number. So you can see here inside the public static void main, and here again result is a integer variable which is array, and integer result equals to method calc 100 comma 50 means 100 and 50 are 2 argument which is passed, and which we copied on a and b. So means a will be transferred to 100 will be transferred to a, and 50 will be transferred to b. And when they this function will execute, this method calc will execute, then it will pass 100 to a and 50 to b. And the first statement, second statement, you can see the first one is the integer result equals to new integer 2. So in the 0 position of the result, it will store the sum of a and b, and in b position and in one position of the result array is a minus b, difference of a and b. So this way we can return more values. So this is the method. Suppose we have to return more value, then we can use call by reference or array. So now coming on this public static void main, where the first statement in which we are passing 100 comma 10, and in second line you can see here system.out.println sum equals to, this is string plus result 0. So the 0 position of the result it will display here. The 0 position of the result means sum of a and b. So it will display sum of a and b. Means 150, it should return 150. However, in the second statement system.out.println, that is the difference of result 1, where difference of a minus b. So result 1 will store difference of a minus b. So it will return result 1, and where it will show the difference of these two, a and b, a minus b. Now Java modifier. So this is all about the passing argument to the function as well as returning values from the function. Now Java modifier. So Java modifier, where in Java modifier are two types, access modifier as well as non-access modifier. The modifier in Java specifies the accessibility and non-accessibility or scope of a field, method, constructor or class. So we can change the access label of field, constructor, method and class by applying the access modifier on it. So these are two types, access modifier and non-access modifier. So first of all, I will explain you access modifier and what is access modifier and what are its type and how to program for these access modifier. So access modifier control the access label. However, the non-access modifier do not control access label but provide other functionality. So first, access modifier, how it control the access label, you can see by this slide. So there are four type of access modifier: private modifier, default modifier, protected modifier, and the fourth one is the public modifier. So these are private, default, protected and public modifier. So these are the four different type of modifier of access modifier. So these are the four different category of access modifier. So now see the first private modifier. So I am coming on, I am explaining this first private modifier. So what is private modifier? First of all, when a method or data member are prefixed with the private access modifier, the visibility of these modifier and data members are restricted. So basically private modifier, in case of private modifier, the accessibility of private modifier is restricted, and we if we have another class from the same package, still we will not be able to access those methods and data members. So now see the example of this private modifier. So this is the example where we have mentioned here public class student. We have this student class, and inside student class we have two variable, name variable, and second one is the email variable. So we have initialized the value in name variable. Ramesh is initialized to name variable, and email of the that name is rnegi@xyz.com. So this is the email, and third variable, that is age variable. Now we have three variable, and notice these three variable are the private variable: private string name, private string enrollment number, and private integer age. So these three variable are the private variable. So we are talking about the accessibility of these three private variable. So see here, when a method or data member are prefixed with the private access. So see here, so these three, name, email and age, these three variable are prefixed by the private type, private access modifier. So these are the three one. So when a method, data member are prefixed with the private access modifier, the visibility of these method and data member are restricted. So this private access modifier, this private category is restricted. So how it is restricted? If we have another class from same package, still we will not be able to access these method or data members. Means these private variable, name, email and age, these three are the private variable. We can use these three variable in same class, but we cannot use them in another class. So this is written here, this in this first statement, in this first statement of the second paragraph. If we have another class, means we cannot use in another class the private variable. If we have another class from the same package, still we will not be able to access these methods or data members. So usually we keep the class variable and method as private. Usually we keep it as private, which are intended to be used inside the same class where it is declared. So, the private members will be used inside the same class, they will not be used in other class. So, this is a strict rule that private member only in the class, they are allowed, their accessibility is only within the class, outside the class they will not be used, their accessibility will not be available in the another class. So, see the public static void main, inside the public static void main we have, first of all we have defined the object of the student class, as we defined above in the first line we have defined student class. So, we will define here object of student class, that is s equals to new student, and then we have three system.out.println statement, means output statement. In first statement we are printing name, name is a string plus s dot name. So, we are printing here name variable, and in second line we are printing s dot email, and we have plus sign, that is for concatenation a string with the variable. So, s dot age is a variable, and we are concatenating this age variable with the age string. So, now see the output in we have three output by three system.out.println statement. By the first statement we are displaying here Ramesh Negi, in the second one we are displaying the email, and in third one we are displaying the age, that is 24. So, this is the program of the private modifier. Now, second one is the second category is default modifier. So, these are the four category private. So, private I have explained you. Now, I am coming on the default modifier. So, these are the 4 access modifier. So, I am coming on the default modifier. So, default modifier, if you don't use any modifier, it is treated as default by default. So, by default if we are not using any modifier or any access specifier, so it will be by default, it will be default modifier. This is the first point. And the second point, the default modifier is accessible only within the package. So, outside the package we cannot use the default modifier. So, default modifiers is accessible only within the package. So, inside package anywhere we can use in any class. Suppose we have a package, and in one package we have multiple classes. So, the variable which is defined at the default modifier, it will be used in any class, freely we can use it in any class, any next class, any other class. So, this is the use of this benefit of this default modifier. So, you can see here package P1, we have one package and the file name is aa.java. So, inside this package we have class AA, package is P1 and class name is AA, and inside this class we have a method, that is message method, void message, and inside this message method we have system.out.println, we have one output statement. By this output statement we are printing value hello. Now, see the another package, that is P2 package. In this P2 package we are importing first of all in the second line we are writing here import P1 dot star, then we are writing here semicolon at the end. So, it means we are importing the previous first package, the first package is P1 and second package is P2. So, now here in package P2 we are importing the package P1. So, first package is imported here in the second package, which is named as P2. So, we have mentioned here, we have written here import P1 dot star. So, this P1 we are importing here. Now, inside this P2 package we have class BB. However, in P1 package we have class AA. So, in this BB class we have public static void main. So, we have main function, public static void main, and first statement which we are writing here the object of the first class, object of the class which is mentioned inside the package P1. So, you can see here obj is the object of the AA class, and this AA class is a part of package P1. So, obj is the object of the previous class AA, obj equals to new AA. So obj is the object of the previous class. Now we can execute the message function of the previous class. So obj dot message. So easily we can run the function of previous class and which is in another package, P1 package. So in case of default modifier, we can use the function of default modifier into another package. So this is the rule. The default modifier is accessible within the package and it cannot be accessed from outside the package. So here in this example we have mentioned here. So but when we are writing here this message function in the second package, so it will give compile error. So you can see here by giving two hash function. So we have mentioned here compile time error in two lines, obj dot message, where we have mentioned here compile time error, as well as aa obj equals to new aa. Again we have mentioned here compile time error. So this compile time error will occur when we will use the method of the previous package. So the rule, so you can see here the rule, again see the rule, default modifier accessible only within the package, outside package we cannot use, but here we are using it outside package. The message function is inside P1 package, but this message function is used in package P2. So this is not possible because default modifier can be used only inside the same package. Outside the another package we cannot use. That's why here we got this compile time error. Now see the another one, another point, that is the third point. It cannot be accessed outside the package and it provides more accessibility than private. Obviously it provides the more accessibility because the private members are used inside, only inside the class. Outside the class we cannot use. However, in case of the default modifier, we can use any default modifier defined default modifier function or any variable. We can use them in any class, but the condition is inside same package. So it means the use of private is restricted within a class. However, the use of default is restricted within a package, not within a class. Private is used within a class. However, the default modifier, the variable which is defined as a default modifier, it will be used inside the package, anywhere inside the package, but not outside the package. So see the last point of it, default modifier, that is it provide more accessibility than private, but it is more restrictive than protected and public. So this default is restricted than protected and public. So this is default modifier. And now the third one is the protected modifier. So this is also very important modifier. So third one is protected modifier. So you can see here there are four access modifier. First is private, second is default. I have explained you private and default, and third one is the protected modifier. So this third protected modifier. So what is this protected modifier? You can see this example also. In this example we have a class person class, and inside person class we have two protected modifier based variable. The first is name variable, second is the email variable. So name is a string type and email is also string type, but both variable are protected variable. So we have also initialized their values. Name is also initialized and email is also initialized. But when we will use it another file, so that another class, that is class employee and extends person. So first class is the super class and second class is the subclass. So this person is a parent class and employee is a child class. So the person class is inherited here in the child class, that is employee class. So in case of protected modifier, the protected modifier can be used in any other class but it would be inherited. So see the first point, again you can see here the first point, the protected access modifier is accessible within package. This rule is same as the previous one, this as this default modifier. So the protected access modifier is accessible within the package and outside the package. We can use it outside the package. However, the default one is only used within the package and not outside the package, but protected modifier will be used with protected access modifier is accessible within package as well as outside the package, but through inheritance. So we must have to apply inheritance here. So if we are applying inheritance, then we can use it outside the package. So this is very important point. So here in this case we are inheriting the person class into employee class. So this way we can inherit the first class into super class into base class, in the child class, parent class into child class. So employee is the child class and person is the base class. So this way we can use it outside the package. So here the second point, it can be applied on the data member, method and constructor. So this protected modifier can be applied on data member, method and constructor. It cannot be applied on a class. So this statement is very clear. We cannot use protected modifier with class. However, in case of the private and default, they are used with the class, but this one it cannot be used with the class. This is applied, the default modifier will be applied with the data member as well as method and constructor. So this is the second point. And third point, it provides more accessibility than default modifier. So this way if we see, the private is most restricted one and default has more facility and more accessibility than private, as well as protected modifier, it has more accessibility than default and private one also. So see in this example, the third line it provides more accessibility than default modifier. So these major point regarding this protected modifier. Now see this example, here we have two variable, name and email, both are protected variable, both are string type variable, and by using inheritance you can see the next class employee, which extend from the person class. So here in this class we have one more variable and joining year, that is 2021 we have mentioned here, and inside public static void main you can see the first statement, that is employee equals to new employee, means we are defining the object of employee class, the previous employee class. And we are defining here e object of the employee, and by this e object we are printing e dot name, e dot email, e dot joining year. So we are printing here all three values. However, the name and email are two variable of the previous class, but we can use the previous class variable because of we have protected modifier, because of we are inheriting the previous class in this class, previous class inherited in this class. So you can see also same time output accordingly. So this is protected member modifier, and we have one more example of this protected modifier, that is package P1. You can see here we have two package, P1 package and package P2. Inside package P1 we have class AA, and inside this class AA we have protected void message method, and in the message method simply we are printing hello world. And now see in the package P2, after writing this package P2, immediately we will write import P1 dot star, means previous package we are importing here. These two files are different file. First file where we have package P1, and in second file where we have package P2. So P1 is imported here, and now see class BB extend AA. So here we are extending class AA. So you can see here public static void main string args. First of all, we will define the object of bb class. bb x equals to new bb. So x dot message. So now we can use the message function, the previous class function. But in case of the previous modifier, that is default modifier, where we cannot use it. So here you can see frequently we can use the message method, and this message method x dot message, then we don't have any error message by running this one also. So but in this case we have two package p1 and p2, because we have the previous one, that is void message, and that is default. Because of this message there is no modifier mentioned before this message, so by default it is default type. So the default will not be this default will not be used in another package. So but when we mention here protected modifier, so in case of protected modifier, again you can see here we have two package p1 and p2. When we will inherit the AA class in class BB, then we can use this message method. So this is the benefit of this protected method. So protected has more accessibility than default one. So finally we have the fourth modifier, that is public modifier. The public access modifier is accessible everywhere. It has the widest scope among all modifier. So it is open to all, and when we mention any variable as a protected access modifier, then it means we can use it anywhere. It can be used anywhere. So for security purpose, the public modifier is not a good choice. So always we have to mention other modifier in place of the public modifier. So because public modifier are open, these modifier open the variable, so anybody can use the variable. So variables are not secure in case of the public modifier. The public access modifier is specified using keyword public. So we must have to mention keyword public here in case of the public modifier. And classes, method or data members that are declared as public are accessible from everywhere in the program. So we can convert the classes, methods as well as data members as a public. So public, this is the public modifier. So this is the example of public modifier where we have class student. So the class student is the public class, and inside this student class we have two variable, name and email, which are public also. So public string name, public string email. And see the another class that is also public, class science student. So you can see here public static void main. So all the class as well as method are public here. So their access specifier is the public. So public static void main, and inside the public static void main we have mentioned the first statement, student s equals to new student. So we have defined the object of the student class. So now in the next statement, system.out.println name equals to s dot name, s and s dot email. So we are mentioning here s dot name and s dot email. So s is the object of the student class. So by using the object of the student class, we will use these two variable, name and email, and accordingly you can see the output. So public modifier, it can be accessed from anywhere. And this is another example of public modifier where we have these two package p1 public class A is the first class and public class BB is the second class, which is inside package P2. So you can see here inside the P1 class we have class A, and inside the class A we have message method. And now see in the package P2 where we are writing the first statement, that is import p1 dot star means when we are using this second file. So in the second file we are importing the first package p1 dot star and class bb, and inside the class we have public static void main, and inside public static void main we have defined first of all object of the previous class a, object of previous class a, that is k equals to new a, and k dot message. By this we can execute the message function of the previous class. Now see the non-access modifier. So non-access modifier are the modifier like final, abstract, synchronized. These are the example of non-access modifier. So final is a variable value cannot be changed once assigned, method cannot be overridden, class cannot be overridden. So these are the final method where the value of the variable is a fixed, and when we mention or assign method as a final, then it cannot be overridden, it cannot be override, and class cannot be inherited. If class defined as a final, that it cannot be inherited. So this is non-access modifier. And abstract also, if applied to a method, has to be implemented in the subclass. So it must be implemented in the subclass. And the synchronized, that is control thread access to a block oblique method. So finally I am concluding this lecture. So after this lecture you can understand passing single and multiple argument to method, as well as returning single and multiple values from method, modifier, types of modifier like access and non-access modifier, access modifier like private, public, protected, default, and public modifier. So I hope you understand all the concept of this passing parameters. So thank you learner, thank you very much.